Okay, council, it is 7 p.m. on October the 1st, 2025. I call this meeting to order. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That brings us to the next item is roll call. Start voting, please. Ms. Martinez?
Mayor, Councillor Jan V. Hill will be about 5 minutes late. And Councillor Dominguez is absent from the meeting. His absence is excused. And Councillor Krebs is also absent, but her absence is unexcused.
Okay, thank you. All righty. That brings us to the next item on the agenda approval.
Mayor, I move that we approve the agenda as is.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? If not, let's please start voting.
The motion carried unanimously.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, council. That brings us to the next item on the agenda. Citizen comments. This is the portion of the agenda to where we have anyone in the audience who would like to make any comments. We ask that you come up to the podiums and you make your comments. Oh, please, thank you. And we do ask that you keep your comments to within 3 minutes. If you're still talking at the 3-minute mark, in which we have a timer, I will politely ask you to end your comments at that particular time. Also, here in the city of Alamosa, we practice civility, which means that we respect those who are speaking and we respect them by allowing them to speak for their full 3 minutes. And we don't disturb or disrupt. We don't clap or cheer or anything like that because we want to make sure whoever's making those comments, we're able to hear all of their comments. So I have 3 comment cards in front of me. When I call your name, if you could, please come up and the clock will start. After that, we'll go to the Zoom participants and give them an opportunity to make comments. Mr. Philip Perry.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen, and Ty. You look pretty good tonight.
Thank you.
My name is Mr. Philip Perry. I am one of those of the Homeless Veterans and Civilian Association. We are filing a lawsuit against Alamosa and the Alamosa Police Department. And in 7 days, everything will be filed. I'm letting you know. I was supposed to just call you and let you bring it to the council, but since you had the meeting, my lawyer said to come here, so all of them can. There's defamation of character, wrongful prosecution done by the police department and done by the city, not per se certain areas, mostly in the homeless area. This is going to be a $5 million suit. I will let the council have 7 days. Ty, you have my phone number still, and I will wait for yours because I'd like to get this thing settled and settled right, because the Attorney General is getting this, the federal government is getting this, the auditors are getting this. This is not going to be a small one. I am not new at this. I've done it in Eugene, Oregon, Salem, Arizona. I don't play. My organization doesn't play. We're 20 strong, all veterans. 2 are in the House and the legislature. We don't play. This is not a joke. So understand, Ty, you do know I speak the honest, because I've talked to you many a times. Let's see if we can come to some kind of an agreement, word, settlement, money. I don't care. I don't live on money. I live on what I do. And that's for the people, to make sure the people are right. 65 years of it, I've been doing it. I've got more experience than a lot of your even age. Okay, understand that. I was back in the 60s and 50s being homeless. when I was just a little kid in diapers, okay? So just letting you know, I hate to tie, but you know how I am, and it's the organization and our lawyers. You all have a nice day. God bless you.
Thank you. Up next, we have Keith York.
There's two things I wanted to mention this morning or this evening. Yes, my name is Keith York. I live on Victoria Street. I grew up here, graduated from the high school along with my four older sisters. My parents had co-owned a business for 25 years here in Alamosa, so I do have some history here in Alamosa. When I graduated from high school, I went into the military and served in two different branches while in the military. So one of my first concerns is there's a intersection at the end of Victoria Street where First Street, Victoria Street, and Stewart Avenue is. Over the past 5 years that I have been back here, there have been numerous accidents there. The last time there was an accident there, I told one of the people involved in that accident to sue the city because I am sure this intersection has been brought to your attention numerous times, and it's apparent that nothing is getting done. Maybe there is, I don't know, but something needs to be done there. There's just too many accidents there, far too many. So that's the first thing. Second thing was I watched one of the videos prior to me actually coming to one of the council meetings where they talked about the drag story hour in the library. It does concern the city council to a certain degree because there are taxes that are given to the library through the city, state, federal. The first person that responded to it, I appreciate his religious views. I was not raised religious, but obviously he had a zeal, but not necessarily according to what the scripture talks about in its right context. The second person was I believe, a council member that also probably didn't necessarily give an appropriate response. It was kind of the opposite end of the emotional spectrum of the two. My concern is that we do need to protect the children of the city, not just here at the library, but also in the school system.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And just a reminder, for those of you who bring up questions, we don't go back and forth up here and answer questions, but if you would like to stay, we will turn things back over to the city manager, and maybe a question, if it's brought up, might be answered. And that's for those who are on Zoom and those who are here tonight. I have another comment card, and that is Ms. Heidi Richardson.
I'm not here to sue anybody. Okay, my name is Heidi Richardson, and I'm here tonight on behalf of the Yes for Alamosa Kids campaign. As homeowners, it's fun to plan for a new kitchen or a new patio, but it's not so fun to replace a roof or install a new furnace. But maintenance happens. And if not addressed, bigger problems follow. That's the case with our school facilities. As with the house, these repairs don't usually fit into your monthly or yearly budgets. Most likely another source of income or funding is going to be needed. That's why the district is asking for a bond. This will allow us to fund these projects now rather than in the future when costs are higher and there will be more projects resulting from upgrades and repairs not being made now. So we are asking for a $30 million bond issue. The projects identified in the bond came from the district's facilities master plan. This plan was developed by our Facilities Advisory Committee, which is made up of community members, parents, teachers, and staff administration, and compiled by RTA, who did a complete inspection of all the district's buildings. If successful, this committee will prioritize the projects for the bond. So last time we asked for a bond was in 2013, and that was for the stadium. That was paid off in December of 2023. We will pay off the current bond for the elementary schools in 2029. So for this current bond, some of the highlights: at the high school, we want to put in a secure entrance on the west side of the building. At OMS, we want to address the restroom issues. We are adding restrooms and upgrading. I know trough urinals were state of the art in the 60s, but not so much anymore. So those will be replaced. And where we're putting some of the new restrooms, we're taking out a classroom, so we're going to have to replace that classroom space. And that'll be a new build. We will repair and replace outdated electrical, mechanical, and plumbing systems. As you know, OMS was built in the 60s, so there's a lot of maintenance that needs to be done there. We have ADA compliant upgrades and updating athletic and performing arts facilities, new turf at the stadium. It'd be a shame if we couldn't host games at our cool stadium. Not only do student athletes use it, but it's used for the little kids football and community soccer teams. The track needs repairs. We couldn't even host our own track meets last year. So please consider voting yes on 5A for the safety of our students, teachers, and staff. Alamosa kids shouldn't have to wait for safe and secure schools. A bond is a responsible way to invest in facilities of our community. If not now, when? If not us, who? Thank you for your support.
Thank you. Thank you. So now we're going to go to the Zoom participants, and Ms. Martinez, if you could give them permission on, give them directions on how they can make comments and be recognized.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate
If you want to speak for public comment right now, you'll use the raise hand feature in the bottom of your screen. If you're on a telephone, you're going to dial *9. Okay. Mayor, it doesn't look like anyone's raising their hand.
Okay, I don't see any hands raised either. Thank you, Ms. Martinez. So what we're going to do is just turn it back over to staff for any follow-up to any comments that were made.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome.
The only one I think there really is a bit of a follow-up is the concerns related to Victoria Street. Actually, this has been an intersection that's been on the radar for the city for quite a while. When we were leading up to the Victoria Street rebuild, we purchased right away so we could try to better align that intersection, hoping that would make it safer. And so there was a fairly significant investment from a city perspective to try to align that. However, we are still seeing accidents there to where our public works and police department are assessing that intersection. It's challenging from an engineering perspective. It's so close to the signalized intersection that you would have stacking issues or other types of things. And so there are some limits, but we might be looking at kind of a right in, right out. But that obviously impacts how some people use that intersection to travel. So nothing is definitely set in stone, but we've had different engineers through the years kind of take a look at it. We made the one big change that didn't seem to resolve some of the issues, and so it is one we continue to look at.
Okay. Thank you so very much for sharing that information with us, Sanchez. Okay, that brings us to the next item on the agenda, ceremonial items. Here at City Council, we share in reading the proclamations, and tonight we have two proclamation. One is going to be read by Mayor Pro Tem Hensley, and another one is going to be read by Councilperson Jackie Vigil. The first one is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. If we have anyone in the audience who are here for Domestic Violence Awareness Month, please feel free to come up to the podium right now, and we'll give you an opportunity to say a few words, and then we'll come down and present the proclamation to you, okay? Yes, you could start.
Okay. Is this on? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Hey, I'm Megan. I'm the new executive director for Tucasa Inc. Thank you for having us here tonight. I've got some of my staff with me here tonight. I've got Marisol, my bilingual victims advocate. I've got Maida, my education and outreach coordinator, and I've got Madi, our advocate assistant. So October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month nationally. It's a huge outreach month for us here at Tucasa Inc. And we've got a lot of activities going on that I just wanted to give you a super quick rundown on and an invite for you guys and for our community. So nationally, Thursday is Wear Purple. Purple is the awareness color for domestic violence. So we really encourage our community to wear purple on Thursdays throughout the month. On October 16th, we're going to be having a free community training at Behavioral Health for our Lunch and Learn event. It's going to be regarding Domestic Violence Awareness Month and the history of it and some of the activities that we do here in town. On October 23rd at Cole Park, we're going to have our annual Light Up the Night event, which is a candlelight vigil in honor of survivors and those that have lost their lives to domestic violence. And then we also have a Purple Light campaign going on right now. So again, purple is the awareness color. We're really encouraging our community to turn their porch lights purple. We've got free purple light bulbs at the office. If you'd like to stop in and pick one up, we'd love to give it to you. It's really just a visible symbol to survivors in our community that they're seen, they're heard, and they're supported. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that helpful information. We're gonna have Counselor Jackie V. Hill read the proclamation. Then we'll all come down there and take a picture with the group.
Okay, Domestic Violence Awareness Month Proclamation. Throughout the city of Alamosa, in recognition of Domestic Violence Awareness Month, we call attention to the fact that domestic violence is widespread and impacts every person in every community. DVAM aims to raise public awareness about domestic and dating violence and to educate communities about how to be involved in important prevention work. This year's DVAM campaign theme, With Survivors Always, calls on communities to work in partnership with survivors towards safety, support, and solidarity. This year's theme is both a love letter to survivors, showing them they are not alone, and a community call to action to advocate for survivors' needs and rights. This declaration of commitment to support survivors means showing up for survivors always. Whereas domestic violence is a serious and pervasive crime affecting millions of women, men, children, and communities in the United States every year. Whereas ending domestic violence requires the leadership of survivors and the collaborative efforts of advocacy programs, law enforcement, public health officials, and community members. Whereas strong social supports are a key component on the path towards healing for survivors. As such, we must strive to create strong, connected communities that stand with survivors, uplift their voices, take action to promote community education and awareness, and work together to change our society so it is safe and healthy for all. Now, therefore, Mayor Ty Coleman do hereby proclaim October 25th as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Furthermore, in recognition of the essential work done by survivors, domestic violence programs and services, Mayor Coleman and the city members of the Alamosa City Council urge all citizens to actively participate in scheduled activities and programs sponsored by Tucasa Inc. and others esteemed community organizations to work toward the elimination of intimate partner violence.
Right. Thank you, Counselor Jackie V. Hill. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
How are you?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very thoughtful. Thank you. All righty. That brings us to the next one is Fire Prevention Week. And we have Mayor Pro Tem Hensley who's going to read that. So if I see our firefighters and everything, if you all want to come up to the mic or to the podium, and if you want to say a few words before she reads the proclamation, that would be great. And then we'll come down and present. Oh, how you doing, Chief? There you go.
Council, Mayor, thank you very much for taking some time out to this meeting to recognize Fire Prevention Week this year. The focus this year is the NFPA is focusing on charge into fire safety, and that's basically dealing with lithium-ion batteries in the home. And they are pretty much, in our life regularly now, but they are a fire hazard if not purchased properly or used properly. So some of the things to keep an eye on is used approved batteries such as from UL. Also charge safely. So when you're done charging, actually pull it out of the plug and disconnect the charging. Safe disposal of batteries. Don't throw them in the garbage. Go to a recognized recycling firm to dispose of them. And don't use any damaged batteries. Because that's usually where the fire start is from a battery that's been damaged. Also store them in a cool, dry place and away from heat or direct sunlight because that'll cause them to go into what they call thermal runaway. In addition to this, we're going to be still addressing other fire prevention themes, especially with our young folks in the community. I'd like to have Captain Esteban Alonso come up and discuss as it relates to what we're going to be doing in the community this coming week, next week.
Council members. So what we do, we go to pretty much every school, daycare, toddler through second grade, essentially. We discuss outside of the year's theme, calling 911, having an escape plan, getting low. We don't really do stop, drop, and roll anymore. More what we really tend to focus on and the highlight is it's been documented that little kids in emergency scenarios with a firefighter coming on with an SCBA are scared. They're scared as it is. They're already hiding because that's the first thing they're going to do when they're scared. And it has been reported, documented, that when a firefighter comes in, breathing heavy, yelling, Alamosa fire, the kids don't speak out. Not necessarily here, but world, nationwide. And so what we do is we take one or two firefighters, depending on how many we have for the presentation that day, such as firefighter Staggs. Say, hey, this is firefighter Staggs. Say something. He's your friend, right? Yes. Okay. Well, watch what he does next. And he'll put on his bunker bottoms. Is he still firefighter? Yes, he's still fire. Okay, say hi. And they'll put on his jacket. Still firefighter Staggs. Then he puts on his mask. Then he'll put on his hood, helmet, still talk every step of the way until finally he gets his SCBA on and he goes on air. And then he starts talking to them. And the whole idea behind it is so they're aware we're there to help. This is what we're going to look like. This is what we are going to sound like. And we activate our devices. We make it loud. He starts yelling, almost a fire, anybody here? So that way they're aware. It's just our small way of hopefully, if there is an emergent situation where they are trapped, that they don't make it worse. They come to us, they trust us, and we establish that trust. And so we found it, we used to go up to third grade. We found by third grade, they're losing interest in firefighters. They're losing interest in hearing about fire prevention. So we just go up to second grade now. We attempt to make a lasting impact, whether we know it or not. For example, engineer Sean Schnook behind me loves to tell a story every chance he gets, whether because it's cute or to demonstrate my age, that the first time he met me was at fire prevention when he was in second grade at Boyd Elementary. So whether we intend to or not, we do have a lasting impact with the message that we bring to the schools.
Thank you, thank you.
In addition, we're also requested the use of the state's Division of Fire Prevention and Controls fire safety trailer this year. We're going to see how that works out in getting the message out to the students. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Hensley is going to read the proclamation, then we'll come down and present it to you all and take a picture.
I guess I first wanted to say is I think that's awesome, learning about kids and that's really eye-opening. And so thanks for sharing that in the sense of how you're doing that. And I have to tell you, I look forward to each year, our little reminder. 1 year it was the smoke detectors and each year it's something and I actually take it and I learn from it. So I think it's awesome that you do that. So thank you.
And one more second before you start, we got one light on with Councilor Carson.
I was just gonna say, that's awesome. I don't know if you guys came up with that or not, but that's a really good idea, how you present that, and it's really, really cool. I really enjoy hearing that. Thank you, Esteban, for what you guys are doing. Thank you, Chief. It's pretty cool. You guys seem to have a new batch of young firefighters coming into. Guys do a good job. And you are right, he is old.
Thank you, Councilor Carson.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and read it now. Whereas the city of Alamosa is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in the city of Alamosa and visiting. And whereas fire remains a serious public safety concern both locally and nationally, and the presence of lithium ion batteries in many household devices introduce unique fire risks. And whereas most of the electronics used in homes daily, including smartphones, tablets, laptops, power tools, e-bikes, e-scooters, and toys, are powered by lithium ion batteries, which if misused, damaged, or improperly charged, can overheat, start a fire, or explode. And whereas the National Fire Protection Association, NFPA, reports an increase in battery-related fires, underscoring the need for public education on the safe use of lithium-ion batteries. And whereas residents should follow 3 key calls to action: buy only listed products, charge batteries safely, and recycle them responsibly to prevent battery-related fires. And whereas lithium-ion batteries store a large amount of energy in a small space, and improper use such as overcharging, using off-brand chargers without safety certification, or exposing batteries to damage can result in a fire or explosion. And whereas the proper disposal and recycling of lithium-ion batteries help prevent environmental hazards and reduce fire risks in the home and community. And whereas the city of Alamosa first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of fires through prevention, safety education, and community outreach. And whereas the 2025 Fire Prevention Week theme, Charge into Fire Safety, lithium-ion batteries in your home, serves to remind us of the importance of using, charging, and recycling lithium-ion batteries safely to reduce the risk of fires in homes and communities. Now, therefore, Ty Coleman, Mayor of City of Alamosa, does proclaim October 5th through the 11th of 2025 as Fire Prevention Week throughout the City of Alamosa. Given under the hand and seal of the City of Alamosa, Colorado on this first day of October 2025.
Thank you, Councilor Hensley. Let's go down and present it. Thank you. Thank you.
So for those of you in the back who can't see me, I see you. There we go. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Sorry, I think it's yours now. Thank you.
Council and Mayor, I'd just like to say thanks to the firefighters here ahead of time. They're the one that's going to get the message out, not just me, these gentlemen here.
Thank you,
Thank
Chief. You have a wonderful team there. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you for reading the proclamations, everyone. That brings us to the next item on the agenda. Consent calendar A.
Mayor, I
Dr.
move that,
Young-Hill?
excuse me, Mayor, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Mayor, I move that we approve consent calendar A.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, please start voting. Ms. Martinez?
The motion carried unanimously.
All right, that brings us to the next item on the agenda. Under regular business, annual update from the Historic Preservation Advisory Committee.
Hi, council. Do you want to present, Don, or you want me to?
Geez.
I got you. So Andrea Bachman, our committee pres, was unable to make it tonight. So anyway, May was Historic Preservation Month. The committee, Amanda Booth at First Fridays, talked to about 50 people about Alamosa Historic Preservation. I think I talked to 2, so that'll tell you that Beata and the rest of them did most of the work. I think some meetings were held with the Sangre de Cristo National Heritage group just about historic preservation, and I think they contributed some articles in the paper. I think some committee members worked with Katie Dobson, our local representative for History Colorado, about the upcoming 150th for Colorado and the goal to designate 150 places across the state. Currently, they're looking at the Spanish Cemetery in the KRZA building, but the hope is to have 10 in the San Luis Valley. Another big accomplishment for the year was the interpretive sign placed for the Valhagen clock, which special thanks to Beata for that. She's been a great liaison. Miss anything, Don?
I think that proud to be on the committee because of the many things that we have done. And I volunteer at the Welcome Center, and I hear people speak about how attractive our downtown area is because of the historic buildings. So we thank council for supporting us in that and approving our designations.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Deacon, did you want to say anything, Deacon? Oh, okay. Then we're gonna go to Counselor Carson and then Counselor Vehil.
Just really quick, I'm third string tonight. I'm not even
Okay.
JV, but
You-
in my time working with HPAC, I do think that they are the most dedicated board. And I can even say that not being biased. They are so passionate and they put in a lot of work. And I also think it's really important to mention Beata, how she's really, she's so invested in it and she's been able to take the energy and the ambition of HPAC and like take it to a level that I think HPAC has always wanted to get to, and now they are. So yeah, and Andrea, unfortunately, she's under the weather, so she couldn't make it. But yeah, I think HPAC is the hardest working group there is here. Thank you.
Yeah. We got a couple lights on, so I'm gonna start off with Counselor Carson and then go to Counselor Young Vehil.
Joe, I was just gonna touch on what you said about the 150 places in Colorado.
Yes, sir.
Suggestion from me is to just purely my thought. Something that's been really was really a staple back, early or turn of the century were the SPM DTUs. And there's one in each community because they were part of that whole cultural era and everything that went there. And so that might be something to consider because I'm pretty sure all of them are on the registry, or they should be at least.
Yep.
But those would be awesome to see in that, especially because they had such a, profound cultural effect. I remember going there when I was, young, and I'm pretty old, but they were still open then. So that'd be really cool. That was just my suggestion, putting that out there. That would be awesome to see those on that list.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Counselor Carson. Counselor Young Vehil.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm the liaison on the Historic Preservation Board, and I just want to echo a lot what Deacon had to say, Joe and your team and Beata and Don. Don, you've been on the HPAC for a minute, and your passion and the knowledge you bring and the work ethic you bring to getting as many buildings on the registry as possible, and your passion for the local history, I really appreciate, and the city of Alamosa really appreciates that, Don. Thank you.
The other members also were Mr. Pat Stanford and Mr. Rob Oringdolf. They're great members as well.
Thank you all so very much for that wonderful update. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, that brings us to the next item on our agenda, under finance, the first reading of ordinance number 21-2025, an ordinance making the annual appropriations for fiscal year 2026.
Thank you, Mayor. Usually what I do during this time is do the presentation that we provide at the public meeting, but maybe a little bit faster because I realize council does know a lot of this. But considering the significance of this document and that the public might be watching, it's always an opportunity to try to provide a little bit more information. So we always begin with the vision and mission that council's very familiar with and worked hard on crafting it. I think it's important when we talk about it that it covers everyone that might be in our community, which includes residents, visitors, and businesses. We talk about economic development as well as our rich heritage and history of ethnic and cultural diversity. The next slide is our organizational chart. It's just to help everyone understand just how many places the city actually touches life. You've got some of the behind the scenes with IT and finance. You've got some of the services that people take for granted until they stop working, like water and sewer. But there's, sanitation and streets and the police, fire, development services. There's just a lot of different areas that we have an impact on this community. The next slide is not scientific. What we kind of do is just a gut check of if we take a look at how much funding or how much energy and staff time is going into some different areas, how would we present that to the public and try to capture that? And so at the top is still a lot of work being put towards housing, not only from millions of dollars in grants, but just a lot of staff time. And we're expanding that into some of the technical assistance that we receive for the rehabilitation program and some of those other areas that we're looking to enhance our housing efforts. Public safety, making sure we have the right facilities, the right equipment, taking a look at our organizational structures and making sure they're structured the correct way, bringing lead onto the city, all of those different types of activities. There's a lot of work going into the public safety. Early childhood care. So even though this is not a primary service that the city offers, it is an area where we are working with We Care, Gingerbread, and the new Early Childhood Center. And we've realized that there is a crisis in our community, and this impacts not only quality of life and the health of our families, but it impacts us from an economic development perspective as well. Infrastructure always remains a big one. We are usually spending more than $10 million a year on infrastructure projects. It takes a lot of money to maintain facilities, to maintain the underground infrastructure, and to keep everything running. Outdoor recreation, we've got a lot of great partners that team up with our team to keep that ball rolling and be front and center for the community. There's a lot of work going on for the river access, as well as improvements to Cole Park, Boyd Park, and other areas. And so a lot of work goes into that. And then lastly, we can't not have a list that doesn't have economic development. We're always looking at trying to find ways to help our existing businesses and attract businesses as well, especially any businesses that can have a good wage system to help our community. The next slide just gives a general budget overview. I try to describe these as buckets for the public to think about. So if you think, you see general fund and think of the bucket for the general fund, you have money that goes in and it can pay for certain services. If you think of the enterprise fund, it has dedicated funding that goes in and it's dedicated expenses that it can pay for, and then so on for the streets and the community recreation. They usually have their own revenue and very specific purposes that that revenue can go towards. The next slide is the overview of the all the revenues. You can see that the general fund, we're anticipating about $20.6 million. It's about 49% of the budget. Then our next is the enterprise fund. And then you can see everything else kind of comprises those smaller pie pieces. Total revenue is just shy of 42 million. The big point on this slide is that for the first time in the 12 years I've been here, we are actually projecting sales tax for this year at a much lower percentage increase than we ever have in the 12 years that I've been here. I better add that 12 years because I don't know about before that. We've got two different types of sales taxes. We have one that we share with the county that's actually collected county-wide. For that sales tax, we are projecting just a 1% growth for 2026. The other type of sales taxes we have are collected just within city limits. So one of those is for the general fund, but that's also our street fund and our recreation fund, as well as the sales tax or the utilities sales tax. All of those that are collected just within the city limits are projected to be a negative 1%. So we're actually expecting a bit of decline as it relates to that sales tax. For the next slide, that's just a big picture overview of what we expect for expenditures. We're expecting about 47 million. If anyone was memorizing the previous slide, that is 5 million more than what we're anticipating in revenue, but that's because we've been saving up for some major projects. We've got some grants that we're funneling money through, all of those types of situations. And you can see the breakdown of the pie as it relates to general fund, enterprise, and then those smaller pieces. So the general fund is the fund that is the least restrictive in how we can use it, hence the name general fund. It can be used for generally most city operations. It covers fire, police, park maintenance, street maintenance, a portion of the library, municipal court, and then the overall administration, IT, HR, finance, those types of things. With the grants for special projects being removed, public safety and street maintenance represent the largest percentage of expenses for this fund. Its revenue is from a 2% sales tax that the state collects on our behalf, and a 1.2% sales tax that is also collected, and about $650,000 in property taxes. So for the general fund revenue, we are anticipating about $20.6 million. You will see about 54% of that comes from the taxes. And then the next one is intergovernmental revenue at about 35%. And then you see some of the smaller pieces. From an expenditure perspective, we are planning to spend about 22.7 million or 22.8. Mine was outdated, sorry. So this is a little more than 2 million more than what we are bringing in. The only item I kind of want to provide from a clarification is the pie piece for development services looks much bigger than what its regular budget is, but that's because we have about $6 million being funneled through for Tierra Azul, Hunt Avenue, CDBG PALS, and the Boyd School. So usually they're a little bit smaller piece of the puzzle. The enterprise fund is the next bucket that we talk about. This is when people think of their utilities and what they get charged for from the city bill. So you've got water, stormwater, wastewater, and sanitations. And so the monies that come in from those sources can only be used on these types of expenses. From a revenue perspective, we are expecting about $9.6 million. You can see the charges for services represent about 63% of that. Then you've got some intergovernmental revenue, some transfers, and miscellaneous revenues. So some grants are helping with some of this. From an expenditure perspective, we are planning on spending about 11.6 million. This is about 2 million more than the revenue that's coming in. You can see that capital expenditures is probably one of the biggest pieces of this. If you think about our water lines, sewer lines, stormwater, the facilities, the treatment plants, the pump stations, all of those lift stations, I should say, there's a lot that goes into keeping the system running. So this is heavily dependent on capital expenditures. The next fund is our Streets Trust Fund. This is a 10-year tax that's dedicated towards the construction of streets. It's a 0.5-cent tax. We also transfer in $500,000 from the general fund, and it does sunset in 2029. For revenue in 2026, we're anticipating about $2.5 million. You can see 80% of that is the taxes and 19% is, or 20% is the transfer in from the general fund. The projects that we are doing in 2026 is West 6th Street from Washington Avenue to Tremont Street, Pike Avenue, and Tremont Street design and engineering. We still have the maintenance, the overlays that we plan to do, as well as the concrete replacement. The next bucket or fund that we would talk about is the Community Recreation Fund. This is one of our most restricted funds as far as revenue. It is extremely tight to be able to pay for everything we know that the community wants. This is getting stretched to try to cover most of the library, golf operations, the family recreation center, the ice rink multi-purpose building, trails, our team sports, indoor and outdoor recreational activities for children and adults. Thankfully, this dedicated sales tax does not sunset, which means then it's something we can count on. Moving to the next slide. For revenue, we are projecting about $4 million. You can see that the taxes bring in about almost half. Golf revenue is bringing in about 18%. Grants are bringing in almost 23% because they're for some reason kind of broken into two things there, but it's about 23%. And then you can see smaller things, charges for services, investment on income, things like that. For expenditures, we are expecting about 4.3. So we are spending about 247,000 more. And you can see how it looks as far as community recreation, golf course, and library. The capital improvement projects, there's just a lot of words and a lot of colors up there. I think the big takeaway from this slide, though, is we are spending over $12 million on capital projects. So that's vehicles, that's equipment, that's facilities. Anything that's more than $5,000 is considered capital. So there is a significant amount of money that is being invested into the capital improvements. The next slide is a quick summary of if someone didn't want to look at every line item and try to figure out what the major projects are for 2026, this is a little bit of a highlight. We've got the Downtown Alley project, Pike Avenue, Hunt Avenue, West 6th Street, the Murphy Lift Station, the aeration system at the wastewater treatment plant, the chemical room at the water treatment plant, cycling improvements, the Cole Park playground replacement, the arsenic treatment, engineering, the police department's second facility to look at housing the lead co-responder team as well as evidence storage, CRHDC Boyd School Housing, and the PALS project. The last slide that we have is we always want to show how we're trying to make the most of the taxes that come in by going after grants and trying to stretch the dollar as far as we can go. You can see the history of the grants that have been awarded to the city. 2023 was a little bit of an outlier. We can't set the bar there at 17 million. That's pretty challenging to not only go after, but then also manage. For 2025, we were only at 1.4 million. If you look at the breakdown, some people interpret priorities. There might be a little bit of priorities, but it's also just what grants are available to match with the projects that we have. So public safety is about 43%, enterprise fund is 36%, downtown is 11%, early childhood pass-through is 10%, and just kind of miscellaneous smaller ones are the 1%. So with that, we've got before council the first reading of the 2026 budget.
Okay. Well, Council, Jan Vigil.
Mayor, just want to thank staff and Heather for working on this for months. Like this takes 4, 5, 6 months. And we all appreciate your hard work in going through the budgets with a fine tooth comb. We understand that you have to tighten the belt a little bit this year, and we appreciate it. And I think the federal government can learn a lot from local governments on how we have to spend within our means and create budgets that work for people. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Jan Vigil. I don't see any other lights on. I'll just follow up to say thank you, Heather, to you and your entire staff, and the amount of time and effort that you put into this budget every year is greatly appreciated by all of us. So thank you very much. Okay. All right, that brings us to the next item.
Oh, Mayor, do we have to?
Let's
Oh,
do a
sorry.
motion. But I also want to thank, every department head puts in a lot of hours and they work with their divisions to put together something that's going to work. But then obviously a heavy load falls on Leanne in our finance department. And so I just want to thank Leanne as well. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, Leanne. We appreciate you. Okay, all right.
Mayor,
Councilor
I
Vigil.
move that we approve on first reading ordinance number 21-2025 and set it for a public hearing on October 15th or soon thereafter. At 7 p.m.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, please start voting.
The motion carried unanimously.
All right, great job. That brings us to the next item on the agenda, regular business, committee report. Do we have any committee reports tonight? No, no committee reports, okay. That brings us to staff announcements.
Well, I'll make up for that.
Oh.
I'll make it fast. I do believe this Friday is First Friday and Councilor Jan Vigil will be hosting the city tent. So everyone's encouraged. I think we're painting the downtown green in celebration of ASU's homecoming. So looking forward to that. Also on Friday, council received an invitation, as well as department heads, to do a tour of the Humane Colorado Shelter. They are open between 11 and 4. They're open beyond that, but if anyone wants to go in for a tour, I think the investment that they've made in our community is significant, and the impact that they have for pets in the San Luis Valley is immeasurable. So I wanted to remind everyone of that. Some of us, myself, might be dressed a little more casually, but we are celebrating the homecoming this week for both ASU and the Alamosa High School. So it's a week with both from a homecoming activities. We wish both teams the best and hope everyone has a good time. This coming Tuesday, October 7th at 6 is Meet the Candidates. And so just wanted to give a reminder about that. And lastly, the work session on the 8th with CDOT is related to the access control plan. I did want council to be aware of this. Could be a 2-hour work session. It's going to be a little meatier type of situation, as well as if you have time. I know we drive 160 and 285 all the time, but if you can drive it with an eye towards how the businesses are accessed, and if some of that is changed, what that might mean to local traffic type of thing. Because some of those things are what we're gonna dig into with a draft map of what changes they may want to make along the 160 and 285 corridor. So do expect kind of a meteor night on the 8th. And with that, I have nothing else.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Sanchez. Okay, looks like we have a local liquor licensing authority action, a motion. Go ahead.
Sorry, Mayor. This item is for you guys to make a motion to approve or deny the renewal for the liquor license for the 719. So they came for a needs and desires hearing before you on November 1st of 2023. We approved their tavern license, which was granted by the state and local authorities with a yearly expiration. They came up for their first renewal in 2024, and so now they're coming up on their second year renewal. You guys have granted me administrative approvals for the liquor licenses, but since it is coming up on the two-year renewal, they are actually not in operation yet, so that's why I wanted to bring it before you. In the liquor code, it does state that the state or local licensing authority can revoke or elect to not renew a retail license if it determines that the licensed premises has been inactive without good cause for at least a year, or in the case of a retail license approved for a facility that has not been constructed or placed in operation within 2 years after approval. So their renewal was received on September 16th. At the time of that renewal, their business is still not in operation, but the owners have been in communication with city staff, and they are still in the process of renovations at the building, to which they have been halted at times due to circumstances outside of their control, and states that this is the reason they have not been in operation yet. Staff confirmed that once remodeling of the building began, significant structural issues were identified that were very costly and required time to correct. From working with the owners, staff does feel that the delays are justifiable, and the 719 has provided an estimated time of opening in June of 2026. So since it's up on the 2-year renewal and it's not in operation, I felt it was best to bring it before you guys to do the approval of the renewal.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez. I have a light on by Counselor Hensley.
So I would say I support this 100%. I know that that building, they opened a can of worms and all those worms are coming out. And so definitely I am thankful that they are continuing on with this project. I am super excited for the day you guys do open. I think, gosh, the amount of work you're doing. So I guess I just wanted to say that I am supportive. I don't know if other people have comments, so I won't make a motion yet until.
Is that a motion?
I was just supporting. So I'll go ahead and move to approve the renewal of the liquor license for the 719.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, please start voting. Ms. Martinez?
The motion carried unanimously.
Okay, good. That brings us to the last item on the agenda tonight. Council comments. Have any council comments tonight? Councilor Yon Hill?
Yeah, it's homecoming week, I think for both Alamosa and Adams State. So happy homecoming to the Grizzlies and the Moose.
Thank you, Councilor Yon Hill. Councilor Hensley?
So I just want to comment, we had our CML dinner last night and what a great turnout. I thought it was a great event. We in the San Luis Valley always have one of the largest turnouts for those CML events. And I think it's great for all of us to really connect with our partners and our surrounding community. So anyway, I just thought it was really nice.
Thank you, Councilor Hensley. Okay, I don't see any other lights on, so I'll go ahead and wrap things up. I would like to thank the entire city staff and team for the great ribbon cutting we had this week on 2nd Street in Edison. You all have done a phenomenal job with 2nd Street. I almost wish I would have bought a house on that street too instead of the other street that I'm on, but man, that looks good. Just want you all to know that. Looks really good. And thank you Jasmine's not here, but once again, I always like to give her credit when credit is due. Jasmine has a lot of wonderful talking points that she prepares ahead of time to really make sure that everyone is included in being recognized. The other thing, I too want to thank everyone who showed up for CML last night and Center, and it was a packed little outing. I was so glad to see us support our local community in that area, which was greatly appreciated. And then I want to make mention, after CML, I had to drive the Lions, Colorado for a speaking engagement. And I saw our own Beata there, and she represented our city very well. So just want to let you all know that as well. And it seems like she's really enjoying that conference and that training. And I want to thank our city manager and also our city clerk. They're always looking for training opportunities for our staff to go to and attend so that you can gain additional knowledge and also get the tools and resources for you to be successful in your roles. And I'm just really thankful that you all allow your staff members to take trips like that so that they can bring that helpful information back to our community. And then one other thing I just wanted to mention, on October 16th, I think that week, I will be on vacation. It will be unexcused as a vacation that week. The other thing is next Tuesday on the 6th, I believe, and Meet the Candidates, I have a work-related meeting to attend in Denver, so I will be attending that event by Zoom. So everyone would know, just in case. Okay, that's all I have. If there are no other comments, this meeting is adjourned.